everybody. I'm going to go with the do now first. Negative 4 plus 1 should be negative 3. This minus a negative here turns into a plus, so it's also going to be negative 3. This is going to be 6 over 28. I'm going through this very fast because this should be review now. 1/4 times 6 over 5, that's going to be, divided by, it's going to be the same thing. You take the second fraction and flip it, which gives you 5 over 24. And here, multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 2/3. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides by 3/2. I took this 2/3 and I flipped it. And I'm going to multiply by both sides. Now I'm going to treat 5 as, I'm going to put it over 1. That way I can multiply straight across. All of this cancels. So now I have x is equal to 15 over 2. Or that's going to be 2 goes into 15 7 times 7 1/2. Either is acceptable. Okay, next one. A dozen eggs have approximately 84 grams of protein. How many grams of protein does one egg have? So it's 12 eggs gives me 84 grams of protein. Now I'm trying to figure out how many grams does one egg have. So this is going to be one egg and x grams of protein. So I know here that I divided by 12, and what I do to the numerator, I'm going to do to the denominator as well. And 84 divided by 12 is going to be 7. So one egg contains approximately 7 grams of protein. Okay, which brand of milk is the best buy? So this is Walmart brand milk or Horizon milk. So we're going to find the unit price of each one. So it's 32 ounces and it costs $3.84. This is Walmart, so 32 ounces cost $3.84. And we're trying to figure out how much 1 ounce costs. This is going to be X dollars. And over here, we're going to do 20 ounces over $3.40. And that's going to be 1 ounce over X dollars. Notice that the numerators both have ounces and the denominators both are dollars. They're the same unit. So here I divided by 32. And here as well, oops, yep, I'm also going to divide by 32. So 3.84, I'm going to divide 32 into 3.84. So 32 does not go into 3. But it does go into 38 one time. 32 times 1 is 32 minus 6, bring down the 4, is 12. So the cost per ounce of the Walmart brand is $0.12, which is 12 cents. Here, I'm going to divide here by 20, and same thing here. Divide by 20. Divide by 20. I'm basically just simplifying this fraction. It's 20 over 3.40, and I want 1 ounce over something. So if I'm simplifying any fraction, I'm going to be simplifying this by dividing it to get to 1. So that's going to give me 3.40 divided by 20. 20 does not go into 3, but it does go into 34 one time. 20 minus 34 minus 20 is 14, bring down 0. 20 goes into 140 17 times. So the cost here is 0.17 or 17 cents. So the better price, the better value is the Walmart brand. Better value. Okay. Now, I've got a lot of problems to go through. These are all real difficult. But I think this is a really, really important skill. Okay. Solving for x here. It's a little hard to see. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay, let me focus. Okay. Ooh, my head's big. Okay, 16. So this really does look like a proportion, right? I mean, it looks like, $16 over 4 hens or something, I'm not sure, but I need to teach you this skill. So there's no units involved, but we do need to figure out how to solve for x in these types of situations. So this 4 right here, to get to the 1, we're going to simplify this fraction to have something over 1. We're going to divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And now if I do the exact same thing here, it's going to give me x. So 16 divided by 4, this right here is the operation. I just need to do one operation. And 16 divided by 4 is going to equal 4. So x is equal to 4. And if you wanted to, you could substitute it back in just to make sure. 4 over 1 is equal to 16 over 4. Okay, now it's getting a little bit more complicated, but it's the same process. This time, it's 1/5 over 4 is equal to 1 over x. So I'm trying to get to 1, and 1/5 divided by something is going to be equal to 1, and that something is 1/5. Any number divided by itself is going to give me 1. So if I'm dividing the numerator by 1/5, I'm also going to be dividing the denominator by 1/5, divided by 1/5. Okay, so the key operation to get to x, which is here in the denominator, over here is the numerator, is to divide this right here. So we have this. I'm going to do it up here. We have 4 divided by 1 over 5. Now, what we're going to want to do is write 4 as 4 over 1, and then use our multiplying and dividing rules. So this turns into 4 over 1. Remember, when we're dividing fractions, we're going to flip it and then multiply, times 1 over 5 is equal to 4/5. 4 times 1 is 4, and 1 times 5 is 5. So the answer for here, x is equal to 4/5. Okay, slightly more complicated still. So we went from just whole numbers to a fraction to a mixed number. First step in these, let's make it one step easier by turning this into a mixed fraction. So 1 2/3 is going to become 1 times 3, and then added to the 2. That's 5/3 over 3 is equal to 1 over x. Okay, so now I need this 5/3 is going it's going to become the 1. Now how do I make it the 1? Well, I divide by itself, 5/3. So here I also need to divide by 5/3. What I do to one side, what I do to the numerator, I must do to the denominator. Okay, so here, now I'm running a little bit out of room. I'm going to use this space down in here. So this is the key operation right here. 3 divided by 5/3. So we have 3 divided by 5 over 3. And don't forget to write the 3 as 3 over 1. This turns into 3 over 1 times, we're going to take this and flip it, 3 over 5. And now we multiply straight across. Can you see that? I believe you can. 3 times 3 is 9, and 1 times 5 is 5. So the answer is 9 over 5, or if we want to turn it back into a mixed number, it's going to be 1 and 4/5. 9 over 5, or 1 and 4/5. Okay, so the goal, the key, what I did, all of these numbers are becoming, are turning into 1. We need to do some operation to get them to 1. We just divide by themselves. So the 16, or the 4, we divided by 4 to get 1. So we're going to divide the top also by 4. The 1/5 we divided by itself to get 1, so we're also going to divide the 4 by 1/5 as well. The only thing that gets more difficult is you just need to use your operations and rules with fractions, especially when you're dividing fractions. You take the reciprocal of it and then multiply straight across. Okay, this one, let's go ahead and do 2G. This is a review problem from yesterday, but I definitely need to make sure that you guys are on the same page. So 2 pounds cost $5.62. And now we want, how much does 1 pound cost? X dollars. Now notice here that the units are the same. The pounds are in the numerator, the dollars are in the denominator, just as long as they're all lined up. That's the most important thing. Now, to get to 1, well, I'm just going to be dividing by 2. Dividing by 2. So over here, in the denominator, I also need to divide by 2. This operation is the only operation that is separating me from the answer, so I just need to divide 5.62. 5.62 divided by 2, and I'm going to have my answer. 2 goes in 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 1. Bring down to 6. Decimal. 2 goes into 16. 8. 16 minus 0. Bring down the 2 is 1. So the answer is $2.81 for 1 pound of pistachios. Okay, 1 pound. That looks like a B, sorry. $2.81 for 1 pound of pistachios. Okay, Mr. Corbett bought 1/2 pounds of walnuts that cost $1.42. How much does 1 pound? Now if I put the 1 pound here, it'd be incorrect. Let's make sure that the units are nice and lined up. And here, the dollars are also going to be lined up. Now the only difference between this problem is that this is a fraction, but the concept is still the same. I'm going to be dividing, instead of by 2, by this number, by 1/2. Because 1/2 divided by 1/2 is going to be 1. A number divided by itself is just going to be 1. So then I also, here, I'm going to divide by 1/2. Okay, so now the only thing I need to do is, this operation is the key one. So I'm going to go ahead and write this operation over here. 1.42 divided by 1/2. And this 1.42, I can just put it over 1. And this turns into our multiplying and dividing rules. 1.42 over 1 times, take the second fraction, flip it, and then multiply straight across. So now we just need to multiply straight across. Well, 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 1.42 is going to be 2.84. So 2.84 over 1 is just 2.84. So 1 pound costs $2.84. In summary, I set up the proportion, divided by this number to get 1. I had to do to the exact same, in the same fraction, the denominator, and then I used my multiplying and dividing rules over here to come to an answer. Mr. Corbett's roommate lived in Bangladesh for a year. She said that she traded 4/5 ounces of water for 3 pounds of beads. How much water, so this is ounces of water, how much water would she need to trade for 1 pound of beads? So here's the 1 pound of beads. Now notice that the beads are in the denominator, and then I have to have the ounces of water here. The most important thing is that these are lined up, the units are horizontally lined up. We have pounds here, and we have ounces here. Okay, so now to simplify this fraction, 4/5 over 3, it is a weird fraction, right? There's a fraction within a fraction. But I'm just dividing by 3 to simplify it here. So then I'm also, if I'm dividing by 3 here, then I also need to divide by 3 here as well. Divided by 3. So my key operation, this 3 divided by 3 is just going to give me 1 pound. So the key operation that's just separating me from the answer is 4/5 divided by 3. So I'm going to write that over here. 4/5 divided by 3. Now, you notice that I put the 3 up here because we're going to write 3 as 3 over 1. And actually what I'll do is I'll write all my steps. So 4/5 divided by 3 turns into this. 4/5 divided by 3 over 1. And then flip the second fraction and multiply straight across 1/3. 3 over 1 to 1/3 goes straight across. 4 times 1 is 4, and 5 times 3 is 15. So how much water would she need? She would need 4/15 ounces. 4/15 ounces. Okay. Now notice that these were increasing difficulty. It went from whole numbers to fractions to mixed numbers. Well, whole number to fraction to another fraction to whole number. Excuse me, mixed number, 8 1/4. To make a soup recipe to feed 12 people, Juan needs 8 1/4 cups, and that feeds 12 people. Okay, so here's our first ratio. Here's our first comparison. And later in the evening, Juan got hungry and wanted some soup. How much chicken broth would he need to feed only himself? So how much is just himself, which is Juan person? Juan person. Okay. He's only feeding Juan person. Get it? Juan person. Okay. And then this is X cups. Notice that the numerators and the denominators have the same units. That's really important. So cups here, and then people in the denominator. Now, if you had reversed, you still would come with the right answer. It's still, the relationship is still equal. Okay, so the 12 people, it's 8 1/4, this weird mixed number in this fraction, but we're simplifying this fraction. And how do we simplify it? Well, we're dividing both by 12. So here we're dividing by 12, and therefore, here we also need to divide by 12. What I do to the numerator or denominator, I also must do to the numerator. Okay, so the key operation right here is this. 8 and this is going to give me X. 8 1/4 divided by 12 is going to give me X. Now there's a couple more steps we got to do, so let's first turn the 8 1/4 into an improper fraction. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33 over 4, and then divided by 12. And then next step, whenever we're dividing by fractions, we're going to turn this number here, we want to turn them both into fractions. So it's going to be 33 over 4 divided by 12 over 1. Now remember our rule. So I'm going to come all the way over here. It's going to be 33 over 4 times, let's take the second fraction and flip it, 1/12. Now that gives me 33. 4 times 12 is 48. And multiply straight across. And can I reduce that? I can. I can divide both by 3. This is a really good example. Notice how we're dividing it by 1 whole. We're dividing it by 1/3. Or excuse me, not 1/3. 3 over 3, which is just 1 whole. So the simplifying a fraction right here, which is what you guys are used to, is the exact same thing here. It's just, it's weird because there's a mixed number here. But if we both divide it by, we're dividing it by the same number, we're dividing it by 1 whole, 12 over 12. 33 divided by 3 is going to be 11, and 48 divided by 3 is 16. So how many cups does he need to feed Juan person? 11/16 cups. Whew, that was a long video. Lots of skills, difficult. I'll help you guys as much as I can. And thank you very much, everyone.